Okay, so we left off. We were just setting up our equation here, okay? So what we need to do, we're going to have to subtract now. So I need to borrow from here. I'm going to turn this into a 9, this into a 2. So 10 minus 7 is 3. Now 9 minus 6 is 3. Okay, so we need to borrow again. That's 11. 12 minus 5 is 7. 11 minus 4 is 7. Okay, so our final answer is going to be 7.733. Okay, so make sure you have your decimal point lined up. Make sure you bring your decimal point down because it is a different answer if you do not have your decimal point. Okay, all right, now we're going to skip over a few. Okay, so now we're going to talk about multiplying them. So when we multiply decimals, we do not have to line up our decimal point. Okay, so when we multiply, say I'm multiplying 0.3 times 0.7. Okay, so when we're multiplying, like I said, you don't have to line it up. It just happens that it is lined up. Okay, so we see that 0.3 has one decimal point or one decimal place, and 0.7 also has one decimal point. Okay, so that means that when I go to multiply them, let's go ahead and multiply it out. So 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 0 is 0. Drop down the 2. Okay, so now that I have multiplied it out, since I have one decimal place and one decimal place, I need to add those decimal places together, which means I'm going to move my decimal point from behind. I'm going to move it to the left twice, because 1 plus 1 is 2. So my final answer is going to be 0.21. So however many decimal places you have is the number of times that you move your decimal over to the left. Okay? Now, we'll get to example 5. So it says, find the area of this rectangle. So area is length times width, okay? So, and then my label, remember, is going to be squared because I took like meters times meter. It's going to be meters squared, okay? So this rectangle is 0.4 meters and 0.25 meters. So we need to take 0.25 times 0.4. Okay, as you can see, the decimal points do not have to be lined up. They just have to be in there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and multiply this. So 4 times 5 is 20. My 2, 4 times 2 is 8. Oh, plus 2 is 10. 4 times 0 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. Okay, so I have 25 has 2 decimal places and 0.4 has 1. So I need to add the 2 and the 1. So I'm going to move my decimal place over 3 times, okay? Because 2 and 1. So I start my decimal here, bring it over 3 times, and my final answer is going to be 0.100 meters squared. Okay? Remember your meters squared, okay? Because you're finding the area means it's going to be meters squared. Okay, now let's look at example 6. So example 6, a ruler that is 12 inches long is how many centimeters long? And it tells us that for 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. Okay, so all we're going to have to do is multiply 2.54 times 12 to figure out what our how many centimeters are going to be in a 1 foot long ruler. Okay, so we need to multiply. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. So I'm going to go 1, my 0. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. Then add 8, 4, 10, 3. Okay, so the 12 does not have any decimal points because it is off to the side. So we do not have to count. So this is going to be 0. Since 2.54 has 2 decimal places, that means we are going to have to move our decimal over twice, which is going to give us 30.48. 8 as your final